Arizona's Bioscience Roadmap was initiated by the Flynn Foundation more than 2 decades ago. The mission was to accelerate bioscience discovery and innovation in Arizona. The Flynn Foundation is now commissioning a new roadmap to guide the state's bioscience ecosystem. And to learn more, we welcome Mary O'Reilly, the Flynn Foundation's Vice President of Bioscience Research Programs. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Ted.
All right, let's get some definitions here. The Arizona Bioscience Roadmap. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so the Arizona Bioscience Roadmap is a strategic plan for how to build a bioscience sector in Arizona. So historically, Arizona has been sort of focused as an economy on, tourism, copper, etc. And over a number of years, it has been sort of found that if we want to utilize what's happening in the universities, a lot of our good research, what's happening in our economy, that we need to diversify. And by diversifying and looking at what areas we have specializations in, Flynn, among many of our stakeholders, so we're working with other institutions, have determined that the biosciences, which is focused on developing new therapies, new diagnostic tools, new medical devices, that it is an area where we can excel.
Why was it considered an area where we can excel when you have places like the Northeast and San Diego and all these areas that are way ahead of us? I remember when this, very early on, I would ask the same question, why are we getting into something that so many people are so far ahead of us?
Yeah.
But we've caught up a little bit, haven't we?
Yes, we have. So there's 140,000 people currently employed in the biosciences in Arizona, and that includes 100,000 or so in the hospital system, and then 40,000 across industry. And that's an important distinction because really what we're looking at here is the blend of industry, medical device like Medtronic, like W.L. Gore, like these companies who are really strong employers in our economy. They create great jobs. We're leveraging a lot of the information and assets that we have in our environment. So that's why we're doing it. It's an important area. We have assets, and why not use them?
I want to get back to definitions here. Define bioscience.
And that can be a hard question but it is actually, it's everything to do with life. So what are the ways that we can influence and solve life problems? So the treatments for Alzheimer's, the development of a new heart pacemaker, that's the life sciences. Actually in crops. How do we make sure that we have, desert resistant crops? That's all part of the life science. So it's a nice diverse area, and that's why it's such an interesting area for us to work in.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting regarding diagnosing diseases, treating diseases, focusing on research in medical labs, the agricultural aspect, enhancing crops, fertilizers, enhancing those things, making them safer, making them stronger. Yes. That's all part of the deal, huh?
It is, yeah. So companies like Bayer Crop Sciences in Casa Grande would be a good example. What's happening at the University of Arizona in their Department of Agriculture, where they now actually have plants that when they're thirsty, basically, when they'll actually turn a different color. So now if you have a very large field, you can determine which plants actually need water.
They're basically calling out to you, give me some water here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really exciting area, and a lot of really great things are happening here.
All right, so we had the first bioscience roadmap, and we had an update in
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Now we've got this one commissioning here.
Yeah.
What's the difference between 1, 2, and 3?
Well, what I would say is that, we've grown as an area, so we have a lot of very well-established organizations like TGen, like Mayo Clinic, like the Phoenix Bioscience Corps. Our universities have strengthened. I mean, our universities, Arizona State University, the University of Arizona in Tucson, all are now close to $1 billion of research investment on an annual basis. So we are definitely gaining strength. We're number 8, I think, in the country for medical clinical trials. So we're gathering speed.
Yes, it sure sounds like it. And it sounds like that, the goal is to be recognized as a national leader. I saw one of the goals, amplify the collaborative gene.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is that, and how do you get it done?
Well, actually, it's one of the strengths of Arizona. It's actually because we are not as old and as well established as other areas. Like, actually, organizations work well together. So the whole question is, can we work better together? So can the 3 universities collaborate? Can we collaborate with our health systems so that we can make sure that what's being developed in one area is actually going to see and benefit a patient at one point in time? So really, that's the goal.
And accelerating research into impact. That looks like it's part of the next generation of the roadmap here. Has that been a problem at all, or you just want to get it better?
Oh, well, we certainly need to get it better. I mean, that's the goal. What I would say, there are many issues to actually translating good research into products.
Yes.
Funding is always an area. We need to figure out how to better fund areas. I know everyone looks for money, but this is a really good investment. How to fund, how to bring more venture capital into the space, how to build a bridge into our health system so they become the first customers. So there's a number of little steps that we can collectively be working on.
Last question here. Is there something that you want to see from political leaders, from civic leaders, officials and such? Is there something that you would like to see that would accelerate all of this?
Oh, well, we can always talk about money.
Yes.
And certainly having things like an SBR matching fund would be excellent. But I think it's the collective, just making sure that we have the right level of support, that people are engaged. I mean, all of this is so important because every single one of us will benefit from having a really great health system and having all these new therapies that are coming down the stream. So collectively, our politicians have to be engaged. We have to have a really good education system. So it takes everybody. This is a large group of people who are going to have to work together to accelerate what we do, because we're under a lot of pressure. Like, there's a huge amount of competition, and if we want to excel, we need to work together.
Mary O'Reilly, Flynn Foundation, the Arizona Bioscience Roadmap. This is part 3, correct?
It is.
And it keeps on going. Thanks for sharing. We appreciate it.
And thank you very much. Thank you.